All right. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Will Hankey. Thanks for jumping on today. We're a couple minutes before we get started here. And I just wanted to jump on and say hello to everyone. Nice to have you on the call today. Pretty excited about today's webinar. We're going to be talking about some pretty cool stuff that will definitely help your business grow and at the same time, automate some things that you don't need to try to continue to do manually, which can really get overwhelming really quickly. So pretty excited about everything, and hopefully some of the things that I share in here help your business grow. Of course, that would be terrific. So anything that I can do to help somebody's business grow is definitely worth my time. So uh, got people filtering in still, and everybody jumping on. So good to have you. I think we're going to go ahead and get started here. I've got top of the hour. Well, hello everybody. My name is Will Hankey. Thank you for jumping on today. My company is called Red Canoe Media, and today we're going to be talking about 7 steps to building a badass marketing or growth funnel. It's typically everybody knows it as a sales funnel or a marketing funnel. I like to call it a growth funnel because what it does is it does some things that ends up helping you grow your business. So we're just going to jump right in. And thanks again for being on. So basically the 3 steps to any sort of ongoing funnel or sales funnel is the 3 different things: awareness, consideration, and then conversion. So you have to get people aware that your business even exists in the first place. Then you have to get them to consider doing business with you. And then conversion is where everybody's loves to be, because that's where there's an exchange, typically of money, for something. So this is where everybody likes to be, and that's where we need to get. But you can't go up to a girl and say, "Hey, will you marry me?" There's a dating process. There's a process to everything before you get to that step. So today's goals is the exact same thing. I'm going to teach you some things about awareness, the consideration, how to get them to convert in a couple different ways. And then I want to tell you about an opportunity to get a couple of these funnels done for you, which is obviously very nice. Before we get really jumped into it, in the upper right-hand corner, you should have a little thing where you can pop in some sort of a question Q&A area. As we go along, if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in there, and I'll do my best to pay attention to this. And if I don't get to them during the webinar, I'll definitely have time at the end to make sure I go over everybody's questions so that we don't miss anybody or miss anything or something that isn't understood. I'm happy to go back over it for you. So just pop your question in there. And like I said, I think it's in the top right for you guys. So if it isn't, let me know, but you should be able to see a little area there for that. So let's go ahead and get started. I know everybody's excited about this. So we'll start obviously with the top of the funnel, and probably the most important part of the funnel is that you have to continually be able to put people into the top of the funnel. And I jokingly call that tofu. I learned that from a friend of mine named Russ Henneberry. Tofu and mofu is the middle of the funnel. Bofu is the bottom of the funnel. So, just different ways to get people aware of your business in the first place is always a good thing. So what you need to do for step number 1 of our 7 steps is to get an audience. And sometimes this is the toughest part, to be able to get in front of people or get people aware that your business even exists, right? There's a lot of different ways to do it. Networking, going out, handing out cards, advertising. Just there's a lot of different ways to do it. We're going to talk about some of these today, and there's a couple different things that I definitely want to make sure I cover, and that's that you need to know who your target market is. You need to have a good website design. You need to have some search engine optimization in place, and CRO stands for conversion rate optimization. So there are some things you can do to tweak once your website is kind of getting traffic. Do some little changes to maybe get some more traffic out of it or get better conversions. And then, of course, content that's on your website. So we're going to go through each one of these. So we got to get these people into the top of the funnel, right? There's different ways that you can handle that. Some of the most common are SEO, ads on different networks. I'm talking about both online ads, Facebook ads, Google AdWords, things of that sort, as well as other ads that are more traditional: radio, TV, billboards, newspaper, things like that. However you do it, whatever way you try to get people's attention, get your name out there is good. Social media, of course, is very popular nowadays. And social, maybe not so much for the conversion side of things, but definitely the awareness side. And that's really what's most important, is to have your brand to be top of mind when somebody, is talking to somebody else and says, boy, I really wish I had somebody that sold blue widgets. And then, because of the social things that maybe you've done, somebody might say, oh, I know somebody that builds blue widgets. So videos is another terrific way to grab some attention of the younger audience in particular. They hang out on the YouTubes a lot, I think. So let's talk about knowing your target audience. One of the most important things that you really need to do, and I kind of put this off with my own business for a long time, was to sit down and figure out who really is my target audience, and figure out what kind of things do they do on a regular basis, what kind of struggles do they have, what things are they trying to get done, and what problems are they trying to solve. And what I did is I actually came up with a kind of like a customer profile worksheet that I wanted to make sure I share with you guys. And absolutely free. Just plug in the bit.ly link down there. Make sure you use the capital RCM or it will not work. So it is case sensitive. But this is a great little thing, just a quick thing you can jot down. Okay, thinking about who would come to my website for, let's say, a particular piece of content or an offer. And then write down different things about that person. And what that does is that actually makes it easier when you go to actually create the page or the sales page. You can actually talk to that person in particular, instead of putting different things about how great your service or your product is. Talking more of a way around getting hitting their pain points, and making it sound like you really understand where they're coming from and what their struggles are and those kind of things. So definitely grab this profile thing, and then at the end of the profile, there's some more questions other than the ones you see here. But at the end, you give them a name. So you see on this one, give everybody a name so that when you're going to create something, you say, okay, so this product would be really good for Sally. So I need to think about Sally. I need to look at what she goes through in a day, and I need to start talking about things related to her when it comes to my product. So always give them a name, and you may have 3 or 4 or 5 or maybe just 1 or 2, but you'll definitely have more than one customer profile over time. And sometimes these are called personas, target market, things of that sort. You'll notice when you watch, if you watch Shark Tank or something, they're always asking, well, what is your target market? What kind of people are you trying to reach? So definitely grab that free worksheet there and start plugging in your stuff. So next, let's talk a little bit about website design. So here's a beautiful website. I mean, gosh, there's only one thing I need to do here, and I know exactly what it is. Obviously I'm joking. There's a lot going on this kind of website. Here's Kim. Hopefully Kim Crawley is not on this call, but not terribly appealing, not overly exciting when it comes to a website. Here's one that I always think is crazy: lingscars.com. And even worse than just the design is the music that starts playing in the background, and immediately, and it's a bit obnoxious and crazy. So having a good design is definitely a first step to having to getting people to actually engage with your business. It's definitely worth spending the time, spending the effort, and getting people that actually want to see what you have to offer, those sort of things. So here's a nice looking website. Here's another one from the state of Utah. beautiful. I mean, it's very nice. It's easy to navigate. You kind of understand what's going on. So having a good design is definitely an important part of getting the sales process into place. A couple places that you can go to get a nice looking site. If you're running on WordPress or some sort of a content management system, then Template Monster is great. They have some really great templates out there that you can buy, and these things are not expensive. I mean, some of these, what we can see here, $75, $100. There's also themeforest.net, and this is one of my favorites. I use ThemeForest a lot. Go there and you can buy WordPress themes. You can buy themes for Magento. You can just buy different plugins for your website. But they've got a whole lot of really cool themes out there around whatever industry you want. And one of my favorites, I use ThemeForest quite a bit. And by the way, that's themeforest.net. Make sure you use the .net. So let's talk real quick about SEO. So for those of you that know me, I do a lot of webinars and teaching and things on SEO. So I don't want to jump into a whole lot of that today because I could go on for hours just about the different things you could do on your website to kind of optimize it. But I did want to just share one thing with you, and that's this one little tiny thing called site colon. And if you're not familiar with this, you should definitely get aware of this operator that exists. And so what you do is you just go to Google, and in where you usually type in your website or some website, instead you type site colon and then whatever your website is. So what this does is this says, hey Google, what do you know about my website? And what'll come back is a listing of all the pages that they think exist on your website. So everything from your homepage all the way through, it'll list there. And at the top, it'll even tell you this is, one of 164 results. So if you think that maybe, okay, I see that I have around 175 pages on my site, so that's pretty good. That's probably about right. Google's not going to say the exact number that matches how many pages you really have. But as long as it's pretty close, then you know that things are being indexed correctly. Now, on the other hand, if it comes back and it says one of 1,064 results, and you only have 100 or so pages on your site, then this will give you your first alert that something's wrong or something's being indexed. There's other pages that are showing up. You may have some duplicate content issues, some things like that going on. So you definitely want to make sure that those numbers match up. And of course, on the other end of that, if it says one of 6 pages and you have 100 pages, then a lot of your pages are not being indexed for some reason. So definitely worth taking some time and doing a site colon. And then of course, the other cool thing is that you can do a site colon on your competitors and start seeing how many pages do they have? What kind of pages are they doing? What kind of things are they writing about? You can also attach this to a keyword. So you could do site colon competitor.com space and then some sort of keyword. And then you can see what pages on their website contain this particular keyword. And then you can see what kind of content they're creating, what kind of things are going on, how often they're writing content around that keyword. So great tool for spying on some of your competitors, which of course is always nice, right? That's always good to see what they're up to. So site colon, make sure you don't put any spaces, and then some sort of a domain in there. Also, when it comes to SEO, I recently created a webinar that's coming up, and it is all about the 17 things that I check when somebody calls me about SEO. So when somebody calls me, there's 17 different things that I go through to check and see, is this right? Is this set correctly? All those things. So in this webinar, I actually go through all those 17 things and explain them to you, how they work, what they do, that kind of stuff. So definitely worth checking out that. And that is coming up on, let's see, 10 o'clock tomorrow, I think. So that's good. All right, let's talk about content. So this is kind of a big deal. For years and years, people have said that content is king. And it's definitely still true today. If you're not creating content on your website, and every time Google comes around to index your site, it just has the same pages and nothing new is being created, then they're going to treat it as a stale website, quite honestly. They're not going to earmark it to come back and index it very often. They're not going to rank it very high because there's nothing new going on. There's no signs of life. So everybody knows about the big one, which is create a blog. And maybe the word blog is a little offensive to some, or it just doesn't sound fun. But really, what it just means is writing articles, writing pieces of content, text, typing text that answers a question, provides value to the end user, does something that adds to your website, uses some of your keywords, obviously, different things like that. So definitely consider writing a blog, even if you only do one a month or two a month, or just something. I like to do them on Sunday. Sunday afternoon, I'm winding down, sitting in the lazy chair, and I have my iPad. I just start typing out something from the past week, maybe that I made a note on that I wanted to write about. And it just gives me an opportunity to create some different content. When the search engines come back to index my site, they see that there's some new content there. They realize that there's life on this website, and it helps me with my ranking. It helps me start to get more pages on the site. It starts to get me more exposure. All things are good. So that's definitely probably the best way when it comes to creating content that you can. Another way to create content is with video. Now, video, a lot of people don't realize that the number 2 search engine is YouTube. So specifically, I mentioned earlier with the younger crowd, a lot of times I've got some teenagers, and a lot of times if I ask them to look something up, it's very possible that they're going to go to YouTube to look that up, which seems a little strange to me because I'm more of a Google person, but everybody does different things. So to have video available and to reach out to that particular market is definitely a great way to create content that, of course, you can upload to Vimeo, upload to YouTube, and embed in your own website. So you got a triple whammy there with different ways that you can reach the content. Another great thing that I do is after I create a video, I'll have it transcribed. I find somebody on Fiverr, Fiverr.com, and they'll transcribe it fairly cheap. I mean, I think it's $5 for every 15 minutes is usually what I pay. So a 45-minute webinar 45-minute webinar cost me $15 to get it transcribed. Then I'm kind of doing two things. I have the video and I have the text that the search engines can read. So nice to have both of those. Another way to create content is through podcasting or through some sort of an audio way of reaching out to people. Podcasting is growing hugely, and more and more people are listening to those in their car, when they're working out, when they're running, things of that sort. And it's a nice way to reach a different audience that maybe wouldn't participate in some of the other ways. Another great way to build content over time. And once again, of course, you can have that transcribed as well. So you can do two things at once there. And lastly is images. Now, this is probably the least popular of the ways of creating content, but definitely still something that you can do. A lot of times people see things like infographics, which are pieces of, they're graphics, they're JPEGs, but they have a lot of information in there around a specific subject. So infographics are cool because they're very shareable. People really like to share them on the social networks, things like that. So obviously you need to have your URL somewhere on there so people know where it originated from, things like that. But graphics are another way to create content that is very, very shareable. Another really cool thing while we're talking about awareness is something called Facebook Local Awareness ads. And these are really cool. So what they do is you pick a geographic area, in my case, St. Louis. So I can show ads to St. Louis plus 25-mile radius, let's say, for the reason to get people aware of my local business. In this particular instance, it's a bike shop. So people see that this bike shop is here in town. These ads go out to only people in a specific region, but they're very cool and, well, ready for it, they're really, really cheap. So here's an example of one, Jasper's Market. This would only go out to, so many miles around wherever Jasper's Market is. And it's very simple. It has a button there for get directions. It explains what the market is or what the business is, a little bit more about it. And it also has the like page button at the top, which is cool. So some people like the page just because they see it in their Facebook feed. Now, what's great about this is I'm running several of these for several different businesses. They are paying on average 0.002 cents per impression. So they're getting in front of thousands of people for just a few bucks a day. I mean, most of the people that are running ads, specifically these local exposure ads, are spending $1 or maybe $2 a day to reach a couple thousand people in their specific geographic area. So these are called Facebook local exposure ads. Very, very cheap, very cool way to reach out to an audience and just get them familiar that you're in town, that you're available. So let's go ahead and check off the awareness area. And let me check and see if you guys have any questions yet. If you joined in a little bit late, there should be a thing in the upper right-hand corner where you can pop in a question. If you have anything along the way, feel free to dump those in there, and I will make sure that I get everybody's questions answered. I don't see any in there yet, so that's good. So let's go on and talk about number 2. Number 2 is to create a lead magnet, and it's just what it sounds like. A lead magnet is something that attracts people to your website, attracts them to your business in some way. In particular, it's what we like to call an irresistible bribe, offering a specific chunk of value to a prospect in exchange for their contact information. So you've seen these all the time, I'm sure. It's some sort of an offer, and I'll show you a couple in a minute here, that people plug in. And in exchange, they plug in their email address. In exchange, they get something for that email address. What it does is it gets people away from just being aware of your business and pulls them towards the consideration area, which is getting them further down into the funnel, exactly what we want them to do, right? We want to pull them a little bit closer. Here's an example. Here's a free ebook and video series. So this guy's doing a double whammy on his lead magnet. All you do is pop in your name, your email address, hit the button, and boom, it shows up in your email. Here's how to get my free ebook. Here's how to get my stuff. This is a great lead magnet. If people are interested in this, they're gonna put their stuff in there, and then you have an opportunity to start marketing to these people a little bit more. Here's one that has a physical product, which is a little different, but it still works. It's a free credit card blade from Survival Life. All you do is plug in your email address, and of course, they're going to send you to a page where it says, okay, where should we send this? So they're gaining a little bit more information about you, but they're sending this out. Let's say this cost them, $1 or $1.50 to get these little credit card things made. So, that's a pretty good investment to get leads from people who are obviously interested in the survival area. Great way to get this with a physical product. Same exact idea. Here's a company called Basecamp, which is project management software online. And I use this software a lot, but I've seen this ad a couple times now. They're just doing a free 60-day trial. So, I mean, gosh, this ad really speaks to people. Last year alone, Basecamp helped over 285,000 people finish more than 2 million projects. Well, gosh, how can I not try this out for 60 days? It's pretty awesome. So this is another terrific example of what's called a lead magnet. Here's one for a local company in town who just has a one-page PDF. They help you sell your business when you're ready to. So they've created a PDF that's around how to figure out what your business is really worth. This is great. This is a great lead magnet. Here's one I mentioned earlier in today's thing, a 17-point SEO checklist. This is an ad that's on one of my pages on my website. So somebody clicks on this, they fill in their email address, and boom, I email the 17-point list to them, and they've got it. So what's important here is that you're trading value for an email address. And people are a little bit picky with their email addresses. They don't just give them out to everybody, and I can't say that I blame them for doing so. But you need to make sure that on your end that you're delivering value. And the other thing that you really need to do is make sure that it's something that they can consume quickly. So you don't want to give them, a 47-page ebook on whatever, how to do something. That's not it's going to be overwhelming really quickly to them. They're going to be like, yeah, well, that's nice. I'll probably never read it. But a 1 or 2 page PDF or something that they can get, the credit card knife thing, something that is very quick value to them, they're more likely to exchange an email address for that. So it's definitely has to be something that's worthwhile to people. Another thing that you need to do is obviously put your lead magnet on your page somewhere. So in this particular case, this is just kind of like a wireframe of a website here. But you'll notice that this orange area, or the call to action area, is very bright and sticks out from the rest of the site. So it's definitely important to make sure that you have some sort of call to action on your site, something that says, hey, are you not sure? Here's something that might help you, something like that. The one I showed you earlier from the business company, they put it on the right-hand side in the sidebar on pages related to what that is. So this page is market valuations. Oh, look over here, why you need to know what your business's market value is. So nicely placed. It makes sense. It trades an email address. Then they know that this person that downloaded that is probably thinking about selling their business or just wondering what their business is worth, something like that. So having a lead magnet is a spectacular way to build leads, in an email kind of fashion. So let's go ahead and check off the consideration. We've got people aware that we even existed through all the different ways of doing that. We've got them to consider us, or at least engage with us in some sort of way, which is nice. And now we need to kind of move them down towards conversion. So that moves me to step number 3, which is to nurture the relationship. So now they've downloaded something from you. They're familiar with your brand. They've taken on your lead magnet. So you need to definitely send them some sort of a welcome. Hey, my name's Will Hinkey. My company's Red Canoe. Here's a little bit of information about me. Oh, and here's the thing that you requested from me as well. So obviously make sure that you deliver on whatever your promise was in the very first thing, but start to get them into something that we call an automation series. And here's an example of one where somebody gets the welcome email, and then if they don't do something, maybe you send them something else that says, hey, you should do this. Maybe if they don't download the PDF, hey, don't forget this PDF is here. Make sure you download it, and then if they do, then you send them over to another email that educates them a little bit more. So there's a lot of different ways to start to kind of automate behind the scenes some things that maybe in the past you've had to do one off at a time, and it can really start to overwhelm you specifically if this process starts to work. It's really going to be tough to keep up with all these people in a way that you're doing it one at a time. So definitely have some sort of automation and process, with the end result obviously being some sort of a purchase or further engagement, whatever it is for your particular industries. Now, there's a couple different services out there. There's one called ActiveCampaign that's very popular, Infusionsoft. There's Hatchbuck, there's Insightly, there's MarketVolt. There's a lot of different systems out there that can help you automate a lot of these processes. So for ActiveCampaign, which is the one I use a lot, they actually have a free trial that you can do. You can just go to redcanoemedia.com/AC, and you can sign up for a free trial and kind of get some things going in there. And I'm going to show you a little bit about the back end of this system and how you can set up some of these automations. In fact, I've got a screenshot here of one. When somebody signs up for my newsletter, the first thing they get is an immediate, hey, what I call an indoctrination or an introduction letter. Like I said, mine is Will Hinkey. My business is Red Canoe Media. Here's some information about what we do. It's very non-salesy. It's just an introduction of who I am. Wait for one day, and then I send them what's called a bonding email that helps them, get a little closer to my business. And then I do another one. And then what I do is I wait for 5 days, and then I send a simple little email that says, hey, this is a quick question. How can I help you? Or is there something that you were looking for when you signed up to get my checklist that maybe I can help you with? And this email, a lot of people reply to that email and say, oh, hey, well, I was looking for this and I really appreciate it. Or here's what I was trying to do and here's what I was trying to solve. And I mean, I get a really good return on that silly little email, and it's all automated. So no matter when they sign up, I know that, let's see, 5, 6, 7 days later, they're going to get this email from me and says, hey, it's Will, just wanted to check in and see what's going on. And, these little automations are terrific because they engage the people in a very non-threatening way. So we'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later on. So number 4, build a tripwire. So first we've built our lead magnet, or some piece of something that pulls them in. And then what we need to do is we need to build a tripwire. And what a tripwire is something that pulls people towards conversion. So we need to get some sort of a win here, really. I've heard a lot lately about, go for one little win at a time. And this is the piece to that. So a tripwire is typically something that's low price, let's say $7 to $47, something like that. Something that they can purchase from you that they've already raised their hand and said, I'm interested in your business, or I'm interested in, at least with the free download. So I've identified myself as a potential lead for you, or a prospect at least. And then, making them a very small offer is not a bad idea. It could be a class. It could be an online webinar. It could be a cheap product, maybe something that is very inexpensive for you to ship. It could be, videos or something online where there's really nothing to ship. It could be some sort of a coupon, 50% off, but it expires, in a couple days, something like that. These are great little tripwires. And really what you're after is at making an offer that they can't refuse. That's pretty much what we're trying to get towards is getting some sort of monetary exchange for something of value. So first of all, they got something free. You gave them value. Now you're asking them, okay, hey, here's another piece of value for a small amount of money. And I made this picture small on purpose because it's just a little, like a miniature transaction. It's not like you're going straight for the kill and asking them for the big sale of your big items. It's just something little that gets the money flowing. It also does something important, and that's that it gets into their head that, you know what, they gave me great value for free. Then I paid them $19 and I got even more value for that. I feel really good about this brand. So it gets into their head that your brand is, a good thing, thumbs up. And that's very important when it comes to trying to build your sales funnel and build your overall customer list. So let's put a little check mark there by conversion. Maybe not the big one, the one that we're really wanting to sell, but we've got them into the funnel and we're moving them through the funnel. And now we've even made a monetary exchange, which is nice. We've got into their head that things are definitely good with this business, and everything's moving in the right direction. So that brings me to step number 5, which is over deliver. And I would definitely say this guy's over delivering. He's definitely making the best of his limited capacity in this vehicle. So it's definitely important to over deliver. And most of us as business owners know this, if I'm running a bike shop, I may do the maintenance that you asked me to do, but I may also, when you come in to pick up your bike, make sure that, it fits you, that the seat height is right for your riding style and your body style. Or I may, go ahead and grease the gears at no additional cost, or make sure the tires are aired up. A lot of different things you can do. I read an article recently about a guy who mows a cemetery, and he actually takes time every time that he does it to go around and scrub some of the different headstones, which is cool. It wasn't part of his contract. It's just something extra that he does that really, makes the place look nicer. In this case, physically look nicer. The people that that are coming to visit their loved ones love it because everything's nice and clean, no mold, all those good things. So definitely over delivering. Here's a company called NHB Knife Works, and what they do is for every knife that you buy, these are fairly expensive knives. They actually offer free lifetime sharpening. So that's pretty cool. If the knife starts to get dull, you just send it into them, they'll sharpen it and send it right back to you. So these are kind of physical things you can do to over deliver. When it comes to email marketing and the funnel system, typically we do something like an extra bonus, something that they weren't expecting to get. It wasn't promised anywhere. It was just something extra that came along, and maybe it's just a different PDF of yours. Maybe it's a one-page worksheet that helps them solve their problem. Maybe it's a free video. Whatever it is, it's something that they weren't expecting. And here we are over delivering again, and getting that thumbs up in their head, that they're very excited about doing business with your particular company. So from an automation standpoint, what you then do is you get them into what we call an engagement series. So you start to educate them about different things. And this could just be some blogs that you've already written. Get them into a system where every couple days or every week it sends them a new email. Hey, since you were thinking about gardening, you may also really like this, and you may like these extra tips here. So an engagement series is just a set of emails over time that really solidifies that relationship, if it hasn't been done already. So anything that you can do to really kind of build that relationship up. So, we talked about at the beginning of the webinar, awareness, consideration, and conversion. Another way that you could look at that is lead magnet, tripwire, core offer, right? So your core offer is what you really sell. It's the thing that you're trying to sell. And it's not, typically this is a little bit more high dollar item, but it's something that you can't just go straight to. You can't go straight to the girl and say, hey, will you marry me? You got to start with, the cool attitude and the sense of humor, and then take them out to dinner and all that stuff. So, it's the same kind of concept here. You have to romance your prospects, right? So number 6 is ask for the core sale. So you've got, some things really going good here. You've given them plenty of value up front. You gave them an offer. You gave them something they didn't expect to get, a free bonus of some sort. And this makes asking for the main sale a lot easier, especially if they've started through your engagement series and they've started to, really understand a lot of the things that you do and how you do them. And you've delivered a ton of value up front. So, it's always a good point to start to educate them about your core offer and your big sale and ask them for that. Now, you definitely don't want to do it like this guy. This is not the way that you ask for a core sale. But there's a couple different ways. Obviously, in the email, in the email series that you're sending to them, it may be email 6 or 7 that you say, hey, here's an offer that I'd really like you to take advantage of. And typically that's some sort of a call to action. You can also start to show them different calls to actions on your website. Start to present things in a way that's still providing value to them, but also asking for that core sale. And this is definitely the most important part of the sales funnel. However, it requires some work to get to this step, right? And then, once you get that sale, things are going well. That is not the end of the relationship. So number 7 is to maximize that relationship. And a lot of people miss this step and, could make more money out of the same, client. A lot of times I hear things like, best way to increase your revenue is to deal with the people you already have in your system. A lot of times you're just not maximizing those relationships. McDonald's is good at that, where you buy a hamburger and they say, do you want fries with that? They're maximizing that relationship. It's a lot of times people call it upselling, same kind of deal. You could call it a profit maximizer, something that you already have the person in your system. They've already raised their hand and said they like it. So it's just giving them something else that maybe not everybody else has access to. It could be a sneak peek of some new tool that you have, or some new product that you're getting ready to come out with, and you're giving them an advanced peek at that. It could be, instead of just the good or the better car wash, that you get the best car wash. So something that really maximizes somebody who's already engaging with your business in some way. And here's the best part. Once they do that, you can kind of get them back into the top of the funnel again if you come out with another product, or you come out with a different service or something else that you've added on to your business to grow it even more. Then these people are easy to get back into the top end of your funnel and start to show them even more information. So it's kind of a self-repeating process. And of course, if along the way you've really created a terrific relationship with these people, then they're going to be cheerleaders for you. Somebody the other day mentioned, what was that they said? Brand champions. I thought that was great. You create brand champions for yourself. And these are the people that are out telling other people when you're not out about your business. So these are the 7 steps. Once again, I want to make sure that we get all this, and then we're going to get into a little bit of Q&A shortly for anybody who might have any questions. Number 1, get an audience. So we talked about SEO. We talked about Facebook leads. We talked about a lot of different ways to get in front of new people that maybe are not in front of you at the current moment. Create some sort of a lead magnet, whether this is a physical product that's cheap to build and send, or whether it's some sort of a 1 or 2 page PDF, something of value that you exchange for an email address. Number 3, nurture the relationship. So get them into some sort of an automation series that starts to teach them about your business, how you do your business, some of the things that that they can get and learn because of doing business with you. Number 4, build a tripwire. So build some sort of item that is low dollar, $4 to $47, somewhere around there. And, it offers them an opportunity to do business with you without really hurting them, but it gets into their wallet. It creates some sort of a brand trust issue there, which brings you to number 5, which is to over deliver. Give them something else that they weren't expecting. Make sure that you deliver on the promise and then some. And then asking for, number 6, asking for the core sale becomes a lot easier when you get them through the funnel to the conversion step. Asking them, for something in exchange for that is a lot easier. And then, of course, maximize the relationship. Make sure that you continue to educate them, give them more value, and hopefully turn them into brand champions or brand ambassadors. So now there's a lot of moving pieces in this entire thing, if you haven't already noticed that. A lot of different things that has to be put into place. It's something that takes a lot of time to kind of set up. And of course, there's a lot of steps involved. Which ones do you do? What order do you do them in? There's a lot of things. And of course, it's not cheap. This is actually a picture of me right now. This is a live feed of me. And I'm sitting in front of my computer. Well, I definitely don't have a cigarette, but definitely drinking coffee. And yeah, this is me. So, these things are not cheap. These, building these systems are very expensive and time consuming. And, having all the pieces in place, from the introduction series to the educational series or the engagement series of emails, these are all things that I can certainly help you with. And I've built a special page on my website called Growth, specifically around the growth funnels. And what I want to do is I want to do everything for you in one fell swoop. So help you build a lead magnet, help you get that in place, help you get set up in an automation platform for you, help you get the actual lead magnet calls to actions on your page so that you can start to get people into the top of the funnel, help you come up with an idea for a tripwire, something that will start to get people engaging you in exchange for some money, help you with the automation series. So both the engagement series and the introduction series or indoctrination series. And then, help build out that educational series to people. So all of this can be done at redcanoemedia.com/growth. And typically this is around $29.97 is what I charge to get all these things in place. But for the webinar today, I wanted to make sure I gave you guys some really good value and a really good opportunity to get some of these things started. So it's nice to learn about them and think about all the steps that we need to do, but to have somebody that can kind of build it all for you is just tremendous. So for today, I want to offer this for $13.87, and this will go through just the end of this month. So I want to make sure that you can jump onto this as soon as you can, and you do that at redcanoemedia.com/growth. So with that in mind, I want to make sure that I get any questions that anybody has. If you have any questions, pop them in the top right-hand corner there. There should be a little Q&A or maybe a question mark area where you can put in if you have any kind of issues or anything that you want to learn a little bit more about. Let's see, we've got a question here from Jeff about the tripwire. What is the cost, or let me read this here. What is the cost if something is a little bit more expensive? Okay, so typically a tripwire is like, $7 to $47. It's something where you can get something from that person without raising any alarms, I guess would be one way to say it. If it's a $197 item, I don't know I don't think I would offer that as a tripwire. That might be some sort of a core offer or maybe an upsell, or maybe a second tripwire after they take the first one. But it really needs to be something, less than $50. So that kind of, the risk versus reward is pretty small. So they're probably more likely to pay that much of money for something versus something that's $200 right after you gave them something free. Some people will definitely take it, some people won't, but it's a little bit harder of a sell when it's a little bit more expensive of an item. Let's see. Jeannie has a question about lead magnets. Can I do an ebook? You can do an ebook as a lead magnet. I would recommend you don't, because the typically an ebook is 30, 40, 50 pages or more, and you really want to try to get something in front of them that quickly delivers value for a very short amount of time, so that something that they can consume quickly. Now, an ebook would be a great tripwire. It could be a $7 tripwire. After you give them something free, some sort of 1 or 2 page PDF, then you upgrade them to the ebook at a very cheap price. This is a great way to still get that ebook in front of them and have that transaction take place. So it's not always about the money. I mean, if it's $7, that's fine. But I think the biggest part of it is just getting that connection in their heads where they can't, where they have trouble with it. So an ebook really needs to be some sort of a tripwire place, I think. All right, let's see, Mary, where do you see businesses most often struggle in this process? Really, I see a lot of them struggle just trying to put all the pieces in place, really. There are a lot of moving pieces here to get this in place, and a lot of business owners obviously are trying to run their business. So it's not an easy thing to get all these pieces in place while you're trying to continue to make money, run your business. So really putting all the pieces in place, I think, is probably the biggest part of struggling this. And on top of that, even when you get into something like one of the email automation campaigns, uh, having that in place and making it all work together uh, isn't always easy. And making sure that you're tagging people correctly and that they're moving through the funnel and you're delivering the information in the right way. A lot of those things are tough to do. So it's not easy to make sure that all the pieces are right, and it's good to have somebody that knows what they're doing around that. So that is all the questions I see on here. So I thank you for jumping on today's webinar. Hopefully I've helped you get some things in place to build your own sales funnel, or growth funnel, as I like to call it, and start to get more leads through your system. And obviously I've implemented all this over the last couple of years, and it's working very well. So it's really nice that a lot of it's automated, and at the same time there's still some human elements to it, like that 7-day email that says, hey, quick question, just want to see how things are going. A lot of people reply to that, and that's a terrific indicator for me that somebody's raising their hand, that they really want to learn more about what's going on. So listen, I thank you all for jumping on the call today. Hopefully you've learned something, and we're going to get a replay out to you shortly. And I appreciate you jumping on. Hopefully you have a terrific rest of your day. Take care, everybody. Bye.